This behemoth in my basement is my 1999 Kodak Picture Maker Kiosk. It's a photo printer and film scanner that you could find in like a Kmart. And as a photo nerd and a 90s kid, I love it. It screams nostalgia for me. But here's the catch. My wife hates it. Look how much space it takes. I think it's possible, and I want to, make a functioning mini-size version of the Kodak Kiosk capturing all of its 90s glory to put on my desk to print photos and remember this thing by. Now I want this mini printer to actually be able to print photos. So in order to do that, I need a compact photo printer I can stick inside of it. Kodak does make a few compact printers today, and it would be cool to use a Kodak with a Kodak, but these printers only work via an app on your phone, and that kind of drives me crazy. Also, to make this really look like my kiosk, I need a screen interface to use, and these don't have one. I also wanted the ability to print from external media, like an SD card, for example. My 90s kiosk can print from PCMCIA cards, CD, and even floppy disk, and it would be awesome if we could get something like that to work. So with all that criteria, I ended up landing on this Canon Selfie CP1500 printer. I was able to get it at a great price on sale. It does allow external media, and it has a screen. Now the screen is currently in the wrong position, but I think I can fix that. This printer is quite a bit larger than the Kodak ones, but doing some quick measurements, we're gonna end up with a mini kiosk about 17 inches or 43 centimeters tall. Now this is the largest project I've ever 3D modeled or printed, and it's gonna really test my modeling skills. But that's a good thing because I do wanna get better at this. I have some big dreams and plans in the future when it comes to building cameras and camera accessories. I just gotta get better at this. It's so large that it's even bigger than the bed size of my Elegoo Centauri Carbon 2 that I'll be printing it on. And this printer's awesome, by the way. You'll hear more about it later because the printer and the filament for this project was provided by Elegoo for this project. But because of this, I've decided the best way to make this mini kiosk work is in several sections printed separately and then glued or screwed together. Here's my idea. The top and the bottom will be in two sections because it's a bit too tall to print in one piece. It's also too long, so this nice curved blue piece with the Kodak logo will be printed separately. And that's gonna look really cool. And then I think I can get the screen and the controls removed from the printer itself and up here to this front panel piece. So we're gonna try that out. Taking apart the printer, there are these ribbon cables that the screen and controls are connected to. One side is plugged in and can just be unplugged, but the other side is soldered. So to make my life easier, I could desolder and solder it back up. But even easier, I found out that these little ribbon cables, you can buy these extender pieces for them. So I can avoid soldering all together and just clip a longer ribbon cable to the existing cables. And I bought extra long cables so that I could have room to work with. So let's test and make sure this actually works. I don't know why this makes me so happy. I should have used the printer normally first. Okay. Nice. Modeling took a long time, but that's kind of boring, so we'll skip ahead. This is the printer I'm going to print this project on. The Elegoo Centauri Carbon 2 with their brand new multicolor print system called Canvas. Elegoo provided the printer and the bright color filament I needed for this project, so a big thanks to them. And like I said, this is my first time doing multicolor printing, so I was a little bit intimidated, but this printer makes it super easy. Let me show you this with the piece with the Kodak logo that has the iconic yellow and red color scheme going on. To make this, I just turned the SVG image of the logo into a 3D model, and then using Elegoo's slicer software, selected each piece and colored by a different filament. Loading the filament into the system is super easy. You just stick it up the tube and the printer auto detects and feeds it in. Another feature I really appreciated about the Elegoo Centauri Carbon 2 is that it's fully enclosed. This is probably a good thing if you have cats. But in my case, it helped with the prints to have a stable ambient temperature while printing for sometimes up to 14 hours on this project. And for these long prints, I can leave it printing while I go to work with peace of mind because I can keep tabs on the print using the Elegoo Matrix app, which allows you to not only remotely see the print video in real time, make sure everything hasn't failed, but also you can check the settings of the printer and pause or stop the print if something goes wrong, all remotely. I'm someone who really values simplicity and reliability in my tools, and this printer is exactly that to me. If you'd like to pick up your own Elegoo Centauri Carbon 2, use a link in my description. And here's that Kodak logo print. This one was tricky because not only is it multiple colors, but it's also curved to match the curve of the bottom blue piece, and that created more visible print lines. Printing on the side is better, but it takes way longer because more filament changes are needed between the two colors. I was up to over 1,000 filament changes. I did find this setting for adaptive layer heights did help, but the layers still show. I also tried sanding, and I think this would work with more sanding, but it was just taking forever. So let me know if you have any other post-processing tips, techniques that you've used For now, this will be good enough. Speaking of multicolor prints, the next one was the most complicated piece. It uses all 4 colors I have on the print and holds the monitor frame, the control panel, and even a little mini Kodak logo on the top. On the real kiosk, there's a bunch of advertisements up at the top. I don't know about that. Maybe I'll add a clip for a photo or something, but for now, I think it looks really clean just to leave it blank with the little logo in the corner. Now for the assembly and seeing if this thing actually works. It's kind of crazy to me to see it all come together after hours of modeling and printing different pieces. The fact that any of this remotely fits at all is surprising to me, being so new at this, and it's such a delight to see. It's one thing to have an idea, it's another thing to model it and see it on the computer, and it's an entirely different experience to see what you've created come together in physical form. And I think that's also what I like most about printing my photos. It's incredibly satisfying to see a photo you worked hard to dream up, you went out in the real world, you created it, and now it's in the physical world in front of you, independent of screen and technology. Now that everything is assembled and the glue has dried, it's time to see if it works. It's kind of funny seeing Canon show up on here. Turns out in between the month where I last tested this printer and finishing the build, the printer broke somehow. It reminds me how much I hate printers because they don't make any sense to me when they throw some random error codes like this, which apparently means the paper is jammed, but this printer couldn't be any less jammed. And I'm not going to spend too long on the video on this, but this was hours and hours of me troubleshooting, and it was extremely frustrating. Between that, and I also took apart the Kodak Kiosk and tried to clone the hard drive on the same day, ran into all sorts of issues with that. It's frustrating. But you know what? That's just part of the creative process sometimes. And I need to learn to embrace failures as learning opportunities. For the sake of getting this video out on time, I bought a new printer to rip apart and try, so we're back in business. After some more troubleshooting with the new printer, I found out that the old printer is actually just fine. It's just the control panel that is causing the error. I got some glue on it and the ribbon cable is slightly bent, so I'm wondering if one of those is the issue. Maybe I'll try resoldering a new ribbon cable and see if that works. But for now, the new control panel works great. But then I ran into another frustrating issue that could have been entirely avoided. If I had just tried to use this printer before or just done more research on it, I would have known that the paper actually comes out the back 4 times during the process. What was happening is the paper, unbeknownst to me, actually has to exit the printer through the back. And I had a little piece that was jamming it. Oh dear, it's gonna happen again. But then I ran into another problem, which is that the print also sticks out the front multiple times. And it was hitting some other parts off the top roller there. So I had to make some more adjustments, print out some more things. But after hours of troubleshooting, we got this. A functioning mini Kodak Kiosk to print photos. I think it looks awesome. I could have done some better design work here. The buttons need fixing. There's potential to make this even better and maybe even more custom. Like I would love to load it with a Raspberry Pi, have my own custom software on there, or just maybe even install the original Kodak software. That's kind of a dream. But I learned a lot of new stuff in this project about 3D modeling, multicolored prints, large prints, about photo printers, electronics. It was a super fun project. Let me know if you want to see something like this in the future. Thanks for watching, and until next time, as always, happy snapping.